Aaron Pierre gives a brilliant performance in Rebel Ridge, proving that he could be the perfect casting choice for the reboot of a billion-dollar action movie franchise. With only a little over 10 acting credits under his belt, Aaron Pierre is still in the early years of his acting career. Most of his movie and TV roles have been relatively small in capacity, and even for Rebel Ridge, he was not the first choice to play Terry Richmond. However, as fate would have it, Aaron Pierre got the opportunity to land his first leading role in the Jeremy Saulnier movie when John Boyega dropped out of the project. Boyega's departure significantly delayed Rebel Ridge's release. However, in hindsight, it is hard not to believe it was all for the best. Aaron Pierre not only perfectly embodies the movie's stoic, badass character but also shows his potential to be the leading man in an action movie. His performance in Rebel Ridge is so compelling and memorable that it convinces one he has what it takes to play an iconic role in the next reboot of a massive action movie franchise. Why Aaron Pierre would be a great James Bond? He has the qualities and acting chops to embody the iconic character. Throughout Rebel Ridge's runtime, Aaron Pierre carries himself with a kind of poise and calmness that almost seems reminiscent of James Bond. He snags one's attention in nearly every scene with his brilliant on-screen presence and delivers all his dialogue with a blend of gravitas and charisma. Even though Aaron Pierre's Terry Richmond is portrayed as a badass hero who remains stoic even in the gravest situations, Aaron Pierre subtly brings a range of emotions to the character with nuanced expressions and detailed gestures. Owing to Aaron Pierre's portrayal, Terry Richmond also comes off as a genuinely intimidating figure like James Bond, even though he rarely speaks and often resorts to non-lethal methods of conflict. In moments where Terry stands up against his wrongdoers and shows them what he is truly capable of, Aaron Pierre also brings a sense of quiet but electrifying intensity that one would want to see in James Bond. Every time Terry approaches conflicts with strategic cunning rather than brute force in Rebel Ridge, Aaron Pierre's performance convinces one that the character knows what he is doing. Terry Richmond may be more like Jack Reacher and John Rambo than James Bond. However, Aaron Pierre's compelling portrayal of the character gives a glimpse of how he would perfectly embody the iconic spy if given the opportunity. Aaron Pierre's casting may be exactly what the James Bond franchise needs. Many factors seemingly work in his favor. Aaron Pierre lifting his shirt up in Rebel Ridge. Aaron Pierre is 30 years old, which makes him neither too young nor too old to play James Bond in the next reboot movie series of the franchise. The fact that most actors cast to play James Bond in the past were not big names before stepping into the spy's shoes gives Aaron Pierre another significant edge. So far, he only has one leading role to his name, but he seems to have the talent and screen presence to lead an action movie franchise like James Bond. Many renowned actors, like Tom Hardy, Theo James, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Regine Page, and Paul Mescal, have been among the frontrunners to portray the next James Bond. What makes Aaron Pierre's potential casting more exciting than almost all others is that, at this point, no one expects him to be cast for the part. Owing to this, his casting would bring some novelty to the character, offering a fresh perspective to the franchise. Not to mention, since James Bond has not been portrayed by any black actors so far, Pierre's casting would be a massive step forward. How likely is Aaron Pierre to be the next James Bond? He is presently far from being among the frontrunners. Aaron Taylor Johnson as Tangerine from Bullet Train and Daniel Craig as James Bond from No Time to Die. Custom image by Yider Chacon. Aaron Taylor Johnson is currently the top contender for the role. Before him, many other actors have been eyed for the part, making it one of the most competitive casting races in cinematic history. Aaron Pierre is gradually becoming a household name following his performances in The Underground Railroad, Brother, and Old, and his recent casting as Mufasa's voice in Mufasa, The Lion King. However, since he did not have any leading roles before Rebel Ridge, he was never considered a frontrunner for the role of James Bond.